Today in court, Mick Philpott was found guilty of the manslaughter of 6 of his children. A man who played out his life in front of the cameras.
This is my wife, Mairead.
Hello, Mairead.
This is going to sound strange. This is my second wife, Lisa.
Hello.
I'm happy with what I've got here. I've got 2 lovely women and I've got 18 lovely kids.
To the public, he was Shameless Mick, Britain's biggest scrounger.
Where does it end then, Mick? Where does it end? At 25, 18?
Well, I don't see what's got to do with anybody else. How many kids I have? I can have as many as I want.
I am
Get
working.
a job.
I'm looking after my kids.
Get a job.
Listen, this shows you what a big
Get
job,
a
doesn't
job.
But the real Mick Philpott was a darker, more dangerous character.
There'll be a lot of people out there that's going to say, oh look, the scum, the scrounger, the shameless Mick. But fuck all of you.
There was a pent-up anger there.
He can be fiery.
He would rule by fear.
Nobody wants you. Who would want somebody like you, for Christ's sake?
What he says goes. What he wanted, he had.
I say you're born with a dick between your legs, not just to pee out of, so I'm going to use it.
A man who would stop at nothing to get his own way.
6 innocent children just gone, just like that.
He knows that ultimately he's going to set a fire, and the plan was that he would rescue all 6 children from that bedroom.
I can only just sum it up in 2 words: evil and stupid.
One way or the other, I will get what I want.
What's your name, Mrs. Philpott. Mrs. Philpott? How many kids are in the house, Mrs. Philpott? Where are they?
6 of them.
Sorry?
6 of them.
In the early hours of May 11th last year, fire broke out at 18 Victory Road. In the house was Mick and Mairead Philpott and their 6 children.
Where's the fire?
I don't know. It's in the front of the house somewhere.
It's in the front of the house somewhere.
Yeah.
The fire was quickly spotted by neighbours.
When I looked out the window and I seen the fire up the door, it was instant. I just went to my brother and said, oh, the house is on fire.
Naturally, I thought that our house was on fire. And he said, no, Mick's house is on fire, we've got to get the kids out. You know, there's kids over there. So with that, my brother's gone.
I ran up the street and I got to the front and it was just a wall of fire. I was thinking, oh my God, that's gone, that's grows so fast.
With the front door on fire, the only way through to the back of the house was over a caravan. Another neighbour, Daniel Stevenson, was also there, trying to get up to the back windows. Mick Philpott was on the phone in the backyard.
I'm frustrated that I can't do it. There's no noise of its children. There's no noise of its children.
As soon as I jumped over the caravan, I said, where's the kid, Mick? They're all in the back bedrooms. And when I climbed the ladder, I noticed that the window was smashed. And I tried to shout through the window, but how's it easy to say? It was like putting your mouth around an exhaust pipe of a car.
I didn't go into the house, I was on the top of the caravan. There was a side window at the top of the caravan. Smoke was coming out of there, and it was more smoke than fire, you know. The smoke was black, thick smoke.
Michael, can you see any flames? No, I can see that smoke. I can't see anything else but that smoke.
Beaten back by the smoke, Jamie began looking for another way into the house to rescue the children.
I was running around his kitchen, his conservatory, trying to get in, just trying to get forward, thinking there's his little kids upstairs. Try and get.
4 minutes after receiving the first emergency call, the fire crew had arrived at the front of the house.
Because of where the fire started at the foot of the stairs, and the fact the fire spread up the stairs, in effect cut off any exit route for the children. So essentially anyone up there was trapped and there was no way they could get out. Once they went into the house, they were met by a very thick wall of black smoke. Could barely see the hand in front of the face. The smoke had hit the ceiling on the first floor and banked all the way down to almost floor level. At this point, the temperature had been rising as well, considerably. Just to the top of the stairs, there's a bedroom almost straight in front of you. That was the first room they went into, and in that room they did find one child.
Jade was the first child to be brought out. She was carried down and laid on the pavement, where desperate attempts were made to revive her.
They went into the next room, where they found 2 more children.
One by one, her brothers were brought out and laid side by side.
When I come round to the front, it was like a war zone. It was like, whoa, you know? That's when you realised how severe and how bad it was.
Yeah.
You've got emergency services here, there and everywhere running around it, and you've got babies coming out.
The 6 children were rushed to the Royal Derby Hospital, but it was too late to save 10-year-old Jade, Mick and Mairead's only daughter, and their 4 younger sons, John, Jack, Jesse, and 5-year-old Jaden. The only surviving child, Dwayne, was critically ill. He was moved to Birmingham Children's Hospital, where family and friends gathered.
We went in to see Dwayne, and it was just heartbreaking to see him there fighting for his life.
Within hours of the fire, 18 Victory Road was declared a crime scene.
The fire starting behind that front door. 2 possible causes. Was somebody poured petrol through the letterbox, or was petrol being used from inside the property to set the fire?
Officers immediately questioned Lisa Willis, Mick Philpott's former mistress. She had lived at the house with Mick and Mairead, but had left with her 5 children just 3 months earlier. She was quickly ruled out. The local community struggled to come to terms with the unfolding tragedy. 2 days after the fire, Dwayne became its 6th victim.
The morning we went to see the children in the morgue, we met Mick and Mairead outside. They asked if we'd go with them, and I said yes. It's probably one of the worst things I've ever had to do in my life.
It tore me apart. It tore me apart. 6 beautiful little children just taken away like that. And
Mick Philpott told police that he wanted to talk to the press.
His main message was that he wanted to give this vote of thanks publicly.
First of all, I want to thank my 3 oldest children, because they helping us to cope with what's going on.
But his behaviour that day concerned and dismayed those watching.
Myself and Joe across.
I met with both of them in a private room, obviously, to brief them, and he seemed to come in very jovial, really, a very jovial manner, as though it was some kind of game, it appeared.
And of course, the poor firemen, the police, the ambulances, the doctors, the nurses.
There did not seem to be that genuine level of grief and the distraught nature of how people feel when they've lost a loved one.
We can't express our gratitude to everybody.
The first things that out of your mouth should be, please help us, somebody knows something. It was never ever once mentioned. If that was me, I'd be begging, please help me, somebody knows something.
I've actually been down to our home, and what we saw, we just cannot believe it.
There was no heartfelt appeal for that information to come in. Find who's killed my children. It just didn't come. So I took an early decision then to take them out of the room. I was somewhat behind, and as I came through some double doors into the corridor leading to the room we were using, I found him collapsed on the floor, surprisingly. I can only describe it really as being childlike and akin to a child feigning collapse or feigning illness, playing around on the floor. And within a matter of probably 10-20 seconds, he was back up on his feet and into the room laughing and joking as he was before.
Two weeks later, the couple were arrested over the deaths of their children. Mick Philpott played out much of the unfolding tragedy, as he had his life, in front of the cameras. Anne Widdecombe got to know Mick Philpott in 2007 when he took part in a show for ITV.
Hello, I'm Anne.
Hello, Anne. I'm Mick. Pleased to meet you, love.
Very pleased to meet you. Mick Philpott loved celebrity. Loved being on television, even if he was being cast as the villain of the piece. He just loved it.
Mick Philpott has a wife, a girlfriend.
He had first courted the attention of the local media 2 years earlier when he had demanded a bigger council house for his wife, his mistress, and 9 of his 16 children.
Well, people could say it's my own fault for having so many kids. I say it's my life, I live the way I want to live it.
Unemployed and with the family claiming £25,000 a year in benefits, Mick Philpott was dubbed Britain's biggest scrounger by the national newspapers.
Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to discover the man behind the headlines and uncover the truth about the guy who has been branded Britain's biggest scrounger.
Appearances on Jeremy Kyle and This Morning followed as his notoriety grew.
But the papers are calling him Shameless Mick. He shares...
I think he was always very aware of PR and his image and what he wanted to portray.
You believe that you're being unfairly treated by the media?
I'm definitely being unfairly treated by the media.
He did not even try to see himself as others saw him.
Listen, you're going to criticise my family, pal, and my kids. I'll criticise you as much as I want.
Sorry,
this is a free country.
All that mattered was Mick Philpott.
Welcome to my world. Won't you?
Mick Philpott thought he had it all. His wife Mairead and their children shared the house in Victory Road with Mick's lover, Lisa Willis, who can't be shown for legal reasons.
Jesse. I'm happy. I've got my 2 wives here. Which I say 2 wives, not 1. And I've got my kids and I've got my family. That's all I care about. Nothing else.
Go and see so then. Go and see so then.
Can I just get if I could get the distribution of children right?
I've got
right?
3 with my first marriage.
Yeah.
2 with another young lady. 5 with Mairead.
Yeah.
4 with Lisa. And 1 with another young lady. And
Right.
2 on the way.
So that's 15 now,
Plus
2 on the way.
Plus 1 when I was in the armed services, which I've never met.
Get out!
Mick wanted to swap his 3-bedroom council house for a larger property.
Get down.
But Derby City Council wouldn't rehouse him, so he took his complaint to his local ITV station, believing it would embarrass the council into helping him.
I think I should be allowed a bigger property. Because I'm unemployed, I should be getting a little bit of help from the council.
Oh yeah, Derby City Council, blah, 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 will help Mr Philpott as much as possible, right? What have I got to do to get somebody to actually listen? It's not my fault, because at the end of the day, it's down to the council to be able to sort us out. We're just going round in a vicious circle.
Derby City Council didn't give him the home he wanted, but Mick didn't let this interfere with his plans to have more children.
Where does it end then, Mick? Where does it end? At 25, 18, 19? What's going to happen?
Well, I don't see what's got to do with anybody else. How many kids I have? I can have as many as I want.
In February 2007, Mick's wife Mairead gave birth to his 17th child, Jaden. His lover, Lisa Willis, was heavily pregnant with his 18th child.
At this present moment, I am on cloud 9. I'm buzzing. Just had child number 17. I've soon come to child number 18. There's going to be a lot of people out there that's going to say, oh look, the scum, the scrounger, the shameless Mick has done it again. Well, I'll tell you what, fuck all of you. Because at the end of the day, my life, my wife's life, Lisa's life, we do what we want. We don't care what you people think. At the end of the day, we're happy, so stuff the lot of you.
1 month later, Lisa went into labour.
I'm gobsmacked.
Hello, love. Guess what?
She's ever so big.
Can't believe it. And you're right about it.
Could have phoned me as soon as she had it, like you normally do. Fucking hours after.
Hey, and guess what? I got no abuse, I got no swearing, I got nothing from her.
Yeah, well, you get it
See?
from me now.
I am king. Surely I will.
By spring 2007, there were 11 children living in the house at 18 Victory Road.
He keeps trying to tell me he's religious, but he's not religious. He just reads one part of the Bible, go forth my children and multiply. That's what he's doing. Are you having any more babies?
I fucking am.
I'm early, so I'll be pregnant in 6 months' time. Mick loved his kids. He built climbing frames in the back garden, trampoline, swimming pool. They had everything they wanted.
And those lovely children, absolutely lovely, and so well behaved. For saying there were so many in the house, they were so well behaved children. They was just adorable.
Sit. Sit. Good girl. Hello. Oh. Hello.
No, I mean, people criticise for having a big family. We're not on our own. Loads of people around with big families. It's just that we're highlighted because we asked for a bigger house.
Once again, Mick invited round the local ITV crew,
Hello, Mick. Peter Bean from Central News. Oh.
hoping they would champion his bid for a larger home.
Good evening. He remains unemployed. He still lives with his wife and mistress, and he's still having children.
But his plan backfired.
Well, it's an extreme case of what's happening, I'm afraid, week in, week out, that people are scrounging off the state, and I just really can't think of any other word for it.
I think it's a load of shit.
Jesse. Yeah.
I think it's a load of fucking shit. I think it's a load of crap. Nothing said about the app being overcrowded in the house, is there? You know? I'm fucking annoyed. The fact is, I've missed the most important part out. You know, we're living in cramped conditions. Right, I'll kick Lisa out my ass and let her move back in property on her own, which is going to cost them fucking twats more money than what it's going to cost me. You know, you can't win. Fuck them. I'm going to have some more babies.
He decided the life that he wanted. He wasn't going to work. Whatever happened, he was not going to work. He'd worked out a system whereby he could live at the expense of the rest of us, providing there were enough children and individuals in the house bringing in benefit. That was the sum total of it.
Why can't I get this, that and the other? It's not fair, this country's going to pot five.
Hang on a minute. I've not said I can't get this, I can't get
you
that.
Want a bigger house,
listen, I'm going
don't
to tell you something, right?
He saw himself as wronged because he couldn't get a bigger house. He saw himself as somebody who was going to stand up and fight for that, and he liked to be in the public eye, and if he was in the public eye, then he thought this was a good thing.
I'm going to say to you and the council, fuck you all, because if the situation comes to the situation, I will build in my garden. And you can come round, the council come round and say, well, you've not had planning permission. Fuck your planning permission. I've not had planning permission to have all these kids in this house, so they're breaking the law. So it's going to work both ways. One way or the other, I will get what I want.
The cameras revealed a man who was determined to get his own way, no matter what. They also showed the darker side of a man who dominated and controlled the two women in his life.
No, she's going to speak.
Right, you just tell them what we said.
So you told her what to say as well?
I'll tell you what, I'll say it. Right? You lot are criticising us for being as a threesome. We don't do threesomes.
I know that, we
full
said
stop,
that.
Right?
I thought it was absolutely bizarre, Mairead, Mick and Lisa all living together in one house. It's not something that I could do myself, but Mairead, she seemed happy enough with it, and Lisa was happy and Mick was happy with it.
He loves us both the same. He don't treat us any different. Right, I'm married to him, I've got his name, but he don't treat us any different.
Mairead married Mick in 2003.
Will you take my Miss Caroline to be your wife? Will you love her, comfort her, honour her?
It don't bother me that I'm not married. It don't bother me one bit. I mean, I was his bridesmaid, for God's sake.
Lisa was 19 and already 7 months pregnant with Mick's child on his wedding day.
To me, it was their day at the end of the day, but I didn't enjoy the night time because I was pregnant. I was due to drop.
Oh my God!
I don't think for 1 minute he would have ever had Lisa. If Mairead could have put her foot down with him, it would never have happened. But obviously, Mairead did everything what Mick wanted, and he wanted Lisa, so she put up with it.
You're happy with the way things have worked out?
Yeah.
And the relationship, that the threesome works okay?
It's not like a threesome, but yeah.
But you have to share it.
I'm happy the way it is, yeah.
And you're happy to share him? Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Just explain to me how, in your mind, this whole house thing works.
Works like a normal family. Well, there's 3 of us in the house, but it works like a normal family would.
Where is the dignity in 2 20-year-old something women allowing a man twice their age to have sex with them? Explain to me.
Well,
is that not sexist?
No, he's not doing it behind my back.
Lisa was your bridesmaid at your wedding!
Mick had a caravan by the side of the house where he slept each night, first with his wife, then his lover.
Now, normally, if this caravan's rocking, you better not come knocking, because this is where it all happens. As you can see, this is a nice big king-size bed. This is where the action takes place, if you know what I mean. I'm not going to say too much about it, but yeah. One night I'll have Mairead in here, and then the next night I'll have Lisa in.
I used to say to Lisa and Mairead, I don't know how you can live like this. It's disgusting what you're doing. But they used to sort of like laugh it off.
You don't find it strange when, of a Monday or Wednesday or whenever it is, he's in the caravan with Lisa?
No.
Why do you think most people are pissed off with you?
Jealous.
Of what?
Me living with 2 girls.
That's all it boils down to.
That's all it boils down to.
How do you choose who gets it?
I don't. I'll service both of them. If they both want it the same night, mate, I won't take one without the other, because that's...
Can I ask you another question? I've got to ask you this.
Go on, mate.
Do you have threesomes?
I knew that was coming. No.
Never had a threesome?
No, you know that. I have, but not with these 2.
Mick's always been a player. From the day I've known him, he's been a player.
I say you're born with a dick between your legs, not just to pee out of, so I'm going to use it. Just say, like, for instance, I went out, and there was some nice young lady, and she gave me the eye and a come on, and I knew she wanted it. I'd oblige, because I'm a red-blooded male at the end of the day. And I'm not going to... I don't even know my wife's listening. I ain't going to turn it down.
We'd go out for a drink most weekends. He'd have a laugh, he'd have a joke. If there's a woman there he fancied, he wouldn't think twice of chatting her up, even though Lisa was there, or Mairead.
Would you be happy, by the way, ladies, for wife number 3 to come into the environment?
No, I don't think it'll happen anyway.
But if it did, how would you feel?
It's not up to me, is it? It's up to him at the end of the day. It's his trousers.
People want to criticise me, I'll criticise them. Because it's my life, my choice. And let's be honest, at the end of the day, there's thousands of men out there who would love to be in my position.
Mick Philpott had created a world in which his wife and lover were subservient to his needs and desires. When Lisa broke away, Mick's world imploded. It would prove the catalyst to a sequence of events that would end in the deaths of 6 of his children.
Mick, and don't take the piss from me, because I can't play very good.
No, I can't either.
Mick Philpott was portrayed in court as a man who expected to have everything his own way, especially in his dealings with women.
You're going to be in an argument with me, daughter, and you ain't going to win it. Believe me, you ain't going to win. You've got no idea what it's like bringing kids up.
You have no self-control. You have no self-control.
It was a side to his character revealed in 2007 when he agreed to let Anne Widdecombe find him a job as part of a show for ITV.
This is my wife, Mairead.
Hello, Mairead.
This is going to sound strange. This is my second wife, Lisa.
Hello, Lisa. How have you got 2 wives? They don't allow it in this country.
Well, no, but I class them as 2 wives.
I see.
If the country don't like it, it's tough.
Right. His attitude towards women was one of complete contempt. He always referred to women as bitch. Bitch this, bitch that.
Every bitch out there that's got children who's looking
what's
at...
that expression you just used?
That's what I'm going to use.
That expression
All right, every woman...
Is that how you describe the ladies?
These are my ladies, different.
Oh, but everybody else is...
Why don't you shut your mouth and let me have my say?
He obviously regarded women as there to serve his purposes.
I am working.
Get a job.
I'm looking after my
Get
kids.
a job.
Listen, just shows you what a bitch you are, doesn't it?
Get a job.
You, useless, you are.
Yeah,
Seriously,
yeah.
You're like the rest. Talk
Yeah.
to that because you're not worth the
I work,
extension.
mate. There were certainly moments when I stepped back, if you like, moments when I flinched away from him. You're a coward.
Let's do as a coward, bitch. Let's fucking move it.
There was a pent-up anger there. I have just
You're exactly the same as Jeremy Cow, so all that.
Oh, dear
You're all
me.
that.
I think
Come
you're
on,
fine.
answer me question.
I just have, but you weren't listening.
Go on, answer again.
Mick had a violent history. For the women in his life who tried to escape his control, his temper could be deadly and terrifying. In 1978, Mick Philpott's teenage girlfriend ended their relationship. Mick responded with violence. He broke into his girlfriend's house in the early hours of the morning and stabbed her repeatedly. When her mother tried to intervene to protect her, she too was stabbed. Both women were lucky to escape with their lives. Mick was convicted of attempted murder and grievous bodily harm and sent to prison.
The violence that he was sentenced for in 1978 is an absolute definite warning of the type of person that Mick Philpott is and how very dangerous he is, especially to the women in his life.
If I was a rapist, a kid molester, or a mass murderer, I'd understand, but I'm not. Something happened to me in 1978, which I've regretted all my life. You know, I'm still paying for it. It was a spare the moment thing. Apparently, if I'd have been in France, I'd have walked scot-free.
After his release, Mick started a new relationship, and the couple had 3 children. But it wasn't to last. In 1995, he met 14-year-old Heather Keogh. Mick was 37.
I think his preference for younger, more vulnerable girls gives us quite a few clues about his personality and how he relates to the world and how he relates to women. He likes to have younger women that he can manipulate and control.
Heather became pregnant with the couple's first child, and they moved into the house on Victory Road. Heather says she became homesick and wanted to leave. Mick became angry, pinning her to the floor.
She was young, she was naive, it was an abusive relationship, he was very much in control.
Heather used to have black eyes and bruises and stuff. You know, you'd say, have you done that? You know, it looks a bit nasty, and oh, I've walked into the door, or oh, I've done this silly hoovering, I've bent down there and bang, it's hit me, and you knew really he'd done it, do you know what I mean? And she was scared to say anything.
The abuse continued. More rows followed. Then one night in early 2000, Mick attacked her again.
I think Heather realised at that time that how bad things were. What was usual following arguments was he'd lock her outside in the back garden, and Heather's described how on previous times she'd actually just curl up around the outside toilet until he was ready to let her back in. But on this occasion I think she'd realised that enough was enough. She actually fled from the address, she climbed over the fence to get away from him, and later went to the police station to report what happened.
What followed was a lengthy and bitter battle for residence of their 2 children. The court heard how Mick attempted to discredit Heather to get what he wanted, but he lost, and the children stayed with Heather. Within months, Mick had started a sexual relationship with 19-year-old Mairead Duffy, moving her into the house on Victory Road. The following year, she gave birth to Jade, her first child with Mick. Mairead was deeply in love with Mick, but by the new year, his interest had turned to 17-year-old Lisa Willis. Lisa was a single mum, and within weeks, he had invited her to come and stay.
I thought I was quite happy and content with Mairead, but then I went to see him one day out the blue, and Lisa was there, and I said, who's that? He said, that's my new girlfriend, Mick. I said, but you got Mairead? He said, I know, I got 2.
In court, Lisa revealed that early in their relationship, during an argument, Mick had beaten her with a piece of wood in front of her son.
Again, he's showing that he has ultimate control over Lisa, and a good beating, especially with a weapon. I mean, that not only says what kind of person he is, very willing to use violence, very dangerous, and it would tell her that, and that would absolutely reinforce that to her, that she needs to behave herself.
I think both Mairead and Lisa was very frightened of Mick at times. He could get angry very easy, and when he was angry, the girls would go very quiet and wouldn't barely say a word.
Blue eyes. Yes, you are. You're my blue eyes. In the bed. I'm happy with what I've got here. I've got 2 lovely women, and I've got 18 lovely kids, and I've got 11 of them at home. There's not many people outside who can turn around and say he's got plenty of money and say they've got what I've got. I'm happy. Football's on. You know, I'm not with football. It's top priority.
There was no doubt at all that Mick Philpott was completely in control. It was quite obvious that the whole household revolved around him and his needs and what he wanted.
He was the boss of the house. What he says goes. What he wanted, he had.
While it was Mairead and Lisa that went out to work, it was Mick who controlled the finances.
Like, the girls used to go to work, and then they used to get whatever benefits they used to get. Everything had to go in Mick's bank account.
What are you getting in benefits?
Don't know.
They didn't appear to know what happened to the money. They didn't appear to want to know what happened to the money. And what about the council tax? How much is that?
God knows.
I expect he does. I was wondering if you'd...
No, because I don't pay it. He pays the bills.
He doesn't pay. You don't know what's coming in. You don't know what's going out.
We know what's going out because we pay it.
I've just asked you about rent and council tax and you're not sure.
The girls never had a penny this house. If they wanted anything, they'd have to ask Mick for it. Like normally, you'd say, right, I'm going to town today to treat myself. There was never none of that. Or having their hair done. There was never none of that.
You know,
that's right, full sick.
You met me
get
sick.
out there and get
at least she's out. At least my wife's out working.
You go and get her.
At least my wife's out working.
Domestic abuse is now universally acknowledged to be made up of a pattern of behaviours. Certainly controlling behaviours like controlling access to money, isolating women from their friends and family, controlling their interaction with the outside world. All of these behaviours together actually are more dangerous than consistent violence.
Mick was happy, believing that he had everything he wanted with the 2 women in his life.
Right, come on, have you brushed yours? Brushed your teeth, yeah?
But Lisa and Mairead's relationship wasn't always harmonious, and tensions were creeping into the house on Victory Road.
Right, night, boys. Do you want them to bed then, baby?
They did talk about each other behind each other's backs. They was jealous of one another.
Sometimes, I wish I hadn't got married to Mairead, and that way there wouldn't be the difference between Mairead and Lisa, which unfortunately there is.
He did suggest divorcing me to marry Lisa. So then Lisa would have his name then. But I told him I wouldn't divorce him.
Why not?
People that have affairs do that.
It was always clear to me he felt more for Lisa than what he did for Mairead.
Lisa, out of the 2 of them, seems to have a bit more backbone, and she stood up to him more.
He's worried about if we're going to drift apart, and drifting apart and the kids splitting up and that. I said, well, it won't be my doing if we do. I don't know.
I mean, you have to wait and see, don't you? What comes around the corner.
Mick admitted he had preferred Lisa, telling the court that he had treated her like his queen. But Lisa was growing increasingly tired of the relationship and life at 18 Victory Road.
He seemed to argue with Lisa more. There was a few times I was there and he said, if you carry on you can get out and everything.
In February last year, Lisa Willis told Mairead she was taking her 5 children to the local swimming pool. She never came back.
I don't know what to do, actually. She must have a sixth sense. She always said the first one they'll leave will be Lisa. And she was right.
And now, the end is near.
It was a bit low. He just said that Lisa had left him, she took the kids, she weren't coming back. You know, he started like filling up with tears over that. Because he loved Lisa. Everybody knew he loved Lisa.
He would have responded, maybe in panic, but in a desperate need to get back the control he felt he had lost. Maybe in a rage that she had dared to leave him. But certainly there was always going to be some kind of exaggerated response.
There were increasingly bitter rows between the couple, and Lisa went to the courts to prevent Mick coming near her. The last time Mick had to fight for residence of his children was with Heather. She had won. This time around, he was determined that wouldn't be the case.
This is a man that'll stop at nothing to get what he wants. It's our belief that Michael was so keen to ensure that nothing was going to stop him getting those 5 children that he started the campaign to try and discredit Lisa.
The police were repeatedly called as arguments between Lisa and Mick escalated. Mick claimed that Lisa's family had made threats. In early April, Mick was driving a group of friends to a darts match when he took a call he claimed was from Mairead.
Mick comes off the phone and alleges that somebody's threatened to firebomb his house. Different members of the bus recall it differently, which is understandable. It's nearly a year ago now, but they're all clear that he alleges there's some sort of threat.
A few weeks later, when a neighbour came over, Mick claimed to have received a threatening text from Lisa.
I went round there 2 weeks before the fire had happened, and he was just like sort of clapping his hands, oh, when I've got her now, when I've got her here, look, threatening to burn my house up, I'll see her in court, I'll soon have my kids home.
I believe he's done that in order to support his actions in the future. He knows what the plan is, he knows that ultimately he's going to set a fire, but he needs to sow the seed in some people's heads as to who's responsible.
Mick was confident that his attempts to discredit Lisa were succeeding, and that he would soon have the children living with him.
The week leading to the fire, he was telling parents at the school gates that he had a plan. He was going to get his children back, and in fact he was so confident that the 5 children would be starting school the following Monday.
May 11th was the day set for the family court hearing. In the early hours of the morning, a fire broke out in the house on Victory Road.
When fire crews arrived, they were confronted by a severe blaze at the front of the house. The 6 children...
It was the culmination of Mick's plan, but it was fatally flawed. He failed to take into account the deadly speed with which fire and smoke can take hold.
Nobody in their right mind would set a fire inside their house, knowing full well there are 6 children asleep upstairs. I can only just sum it up in 2 words: evil and stupid.
Right, this is the proper way you hoover up, right? Don't watch how the girls do it, right? Proper way of hoovering up.
Mick Philpott had created a world for himself with his wife, his lover, and their 11 children. A world that he controlled.
One way or the other, I will get what I want.
When Mick's lover Lisa Willis left, taking their children, he was prepared to do anything to win them back. But his carefully laid plans went tragically wrong.
Michael Philpott never expected the fire to end up like it did. He thought it would be, I think, a very low-level crime, something that he would get away with.
18 Victory Road had become a crime scene.
The investigation, which is still in its early stages, continues to focus on what caused the blaze.
It became apparent to detectives that the parents couldn't be ruled out. The day of the fire was critical for Mick Philpott. He and Lisa were due in the family court.
Now, you've got this apparent coincidence of it starting actually in the early hours of the morning before they're all due at court. Now, I may be cynical around that, but it's too much of a coincidence for me that that fire takes place on the morning that they're all going to court for a family hearing.
It's our belief that Michael's plan was to go to court that day, having discredited Lisa, and in the same scenario he's actually made himself look like a hero and a victim at the same time, and he believed that would achieve his aim of getting the children back.
As detectives began to piece together the events of that night, they began to question the Philpotts' account. Mick told police that he had spent the evening at home playing snooker with a friend, Paul Mosley. Mairead had sex with both men, with Mosley claiming he left around 1:30 in the morning. The couple then went to bed in the conservatory where they usually slept.
Michael and Mairead both claimed that they were having a cuddle in bed, having fallen asleep after watching television, and that they were woken by the alarm.
On hearing the alarm, they said that they went through the kitchen and opened the door into the lounge. But what they did when they saw the fire raised questions for the police.
From their own accounts, they found the fire, turned round and gone through the kitchen, past 2 fire extinguishers, a sink with water in. They've done nothing to actually look at the fire and to decide, can they fight it, can they put it out, can they rescue the children?
The fire had been started with petrol, and unchecked, it spread rapidly, sending smoke up to the bedrooms where the children were sleeping.
Anything made from petroleum products is going to give off large amounts of thick, black, acrid smoke. There'll be a lot of carbon monoxide in there, a lot of cyanide in there, various different toxic gases. Anybody up there is going to be breathing in those gases.
Mairead went out of the back of the house and called 999.
Mrs. Philpott, how many kids are in the house, Mrs. Philpott?
Mick claimed that he went to find a ladder, using it to get up to the back of the house where he tried to break the window.
The ladder was already, if not up at the window, certainly in position. And the plan was that he would go up that ladder, he would open that window, and he would rescue all 6 children from that bedroom.
But by the time neighbours Darren and Jamie Butler arrive on the scene, the dramatic rescue plan had gone badly wrong.
The whole demeanour of Mick and Mairead was...
It was wrong.
Yeah, from start to finish. It was like it was all set in their particular way.
Well, we know now, don't we?
Ladders there and...
The emergency services were quickly on the scene. When they asked Mick where the children were, he told them repeatedly that the children were in the back bedroom. He had also said this to the 999 operator.
Are they made in the front or the back bedroom? In the back bedroom, mate. All of them? All of them, yeah.
We believe that is part of his plan, and that somehow the children were going to be in the back bedroom where he could rescue the children and make sure they escaped from the fire.
But if there was a plan for the children to gather in one bedroom, it had failed. Officers found the children still in their beds, where they had been overcome by the smoke. They were laid out in front of the house where the emergency services worked desperately to save them.
Mick made an attempt to get to his children, you know, and he got through to one of his children, kissed one of his children on the head, and then got up and went across the road to his neighbour's house to see how his wife was doing. You know, everything was wrong. It was wrong.
Mick's strange behaviour was beginning to attract attention. The couple's son, Dwayne, was critically ill. He was transferred from the local hospital to a specialist unit 37 miles away in Birmingham. But when hospital staff arranged for the couple to go with him, Mick refused.
Michael had initially said that he wouldn't go because he'd got to go to court that day for custody of the 5 children he'd had with Lisa Willis. He went for a coffee. He just didn't seem anxious or concerned, really. And in the end, officers actually were quite clear and told the both of them that they'd have to go.
If that was me, my child's in intensive care fighting for his life, I want to spend as much time with him as possible, and I don't want to leave his side. But that weren't the case. They was more interested in running around the hospital, having chats, having sneaky chats with Paul Mosley, and
he was doing things that a normal human being wouldn't do. Me and Sharon was like walking down the hallway and he was behind us, and all of a sudden he shouts, "Mick," and I turned around And he's grabbing this woman's bum and saying, this is what I like, and he's just lost the kids, mate. How can you go on like that?
Mick did the press conference thing.
It was fake. And not once did he say, can anyone help me in finding who started the fire at my house? He was too busy thanking Tom, Dick and Harry.
Excuse me a minute.
It was false. That was crocodile tears.
In an attempt to understand the Philpotts' bizarre behaviour, the police secretly recorded them. The couple were in a police van together when Mick was heard asking Mairead if she was sticking to the story.
We believe at one point he said, I didn't mean to do it on my life. And he's also said to her, are we sticking with the story? Because if you want me to, I'll blab about it.
As the investigation progressed, traces of petrol additives were found on the clothes of the Philpotts and the friend who was with them at the house that night, Paul Mosley. Mick and Mairead Philpott, along with Paul Mosley, were charged with the manslaughter of their 6 children. In June last year, under dull grey skies, 6 coffins were carried to St Mary's Church in Derby. Crowds gathered to pay respect to the 6 young lives lost in the fire. Only the parents, Mick and Mairead Philpott, were absent.
I apologised to that guy. I apologised to him for not saving his kids. Do you know what that did to me? That ripped me right open. Right down the middle.
Today at Nottingham Crown Court, Mick and Mairead Philpott and Paul Mosley were found guilty of the manslaughter of the Philpotts' children. Dwayne, Jade, John, Jack, Jesse and Jaden.
I've never dealt with a case as sad as this, so there isn't a winner in this by any stretch of the imagination. All we've done is really try to just seek some justice for 6 children who are no longer with us, that were on the cusp of their lives, and hopefully we've got justice for those 6 poor kids.
Beaten back by the smoke, Jamie began looking for another way into the house to rescue the children.
I was running around his kitchen, his conservatory, trying to get in, just trying to get forward, thinking his little kids upstairs. Try and get.
4 minutes after receiving the first emergency call, the fire crew had arrived at the front of the house.
Because of where the fire started at the foot of the stairs, and the fact the fire spread up the stairs, in effect cut off any exit route for the children. So essentially anyone up there was trapped and there was no way they could get out. Once they went into the house, they were met by a very thick wall of black smoke. Could barely see the hand in front of the face. The smoke had hit the ceiling on the first floor and banked all the way down to almost floor level. At this point the temperature had been rising as well considerably. Just to the top of the stairs there's a bedroom almost straight in front of you. That was the first room they went into, and in that room they did find 1 child.
Jade was the first child to be brought out. She was carried down and laid on the pavement, where desperate attempts were made to revive her.
They went into the next room where they found 2 more children.
One by one, her brothers were brought out and laid side by side.
When I come round to the front, it was like a war zone. It was like, whoa, you know? That's when you realised how severe and how bad it was.
Yeah.
You've got emergency services here, there and everywhere running around it, and you've got babies coming out.
The 6 children were rushed to the Royal Derby Hospital, but it was too late to save 10-year-old Jade, Mick and Mairead's only daughter, and their 4 younger sons, John, Jack, Jesse, and 5-year-old Jaden. The only surviving child.
I ran up the street and I got to the front and it was just a wall of fire. I was thinking, oh my God, that's grows so fast.
With the front door on fire, the only way through to the back of the house was over a caravan. Another neighbour, Daniel Stevenson, was also there, trying to get up to the back windows. Mick Philpott was on the phone in the backyard.
I'm frustrated that I can't do it. There's no noise to be killed. There's no noise to be killed.
As soon as I jumped over the caravan, I said, where's the kid, Mick? They're all in the back bedrooms. And when I climbed the ladder, I noticed that the window was smashed. And I tried to shout through the window, but how's it easy to say? It was like putting your mouth around an exhaust pipe of a car.
I didn't go into the house. I was on the top of the caravan. There was a side window at the top of the caravan. Smoke was coming out of there, and it was more smoke than fire. You know, the smoke was black, thick smoke.
Michael, can you see any flames?
Ultimately, he's going to set a fire, and the plan was that he would rescue all 6 children from that bedroom.
I can only just sum it up in 2 words: evil and stupid.
One way or the other, I will get what I want.
What's your name, Mrs. Philpott. Mrs. Philpott. How many kids are in the house, Mrs. Philpott? Where are they? 6 of them. Sorry? 6 of them.
In the early hours of May 11th last year, fire broke out at 18 Victory Road. In the house was Mick and Mairead Philpott and their 6 children.
Where's the fire? It's in the front of the house somewhere. It's in the front of the house somewhere? Yeah.
The fire was quickly spotted by neighbours.
When I looked out the window and I seen the fire up the door, it was instant. I just went to my brother and said, oh, the house is on fire.
Naturally, I thought that our house was on fire. And he said, no, Mick's house is on fire, we've got to get the kids out. You know, there's kids over there. So with that, my brother's gone.
Today in court, Mick Philpott was found guilty of the manslaughter of 6 of his children. A man who played out his life in front of the cameras.
This is my wife, Mairead.
Hello, Mairead.
This is going to sound strange. This is my second wife, Lisa.
Hello.
I'm happy with what I've got here. I've got 2 lovely women and I've got 18 lovely kids.
To the public, he was Shameless Mick, Britain's biggest scrounger.
Where does it end then, Mick? Where does it end? At 25, 18?
Well, I don't see what's got to do with anybody else. How many kids I have? I can have as many as I want. I am
Get
working.
a job.
I'm looking after my
Get
kids.
a job.
Listen, just shows you what I've been through.
Get a job.
But the real Mick Philpott was a darker, more dangerous character.
There'll be a lot of people out there that's going to say, oh look, the scum, the scrounger, the shameless Mick. Well, fuck all of you.
There was a pent-up anger there.
He can be fiery.
He would rule by fear.
Nobody wants you. Who would want somebody like you, for Christ's sake?
What he says goes. What he wanted, he had.
I say you're born with a dick between your legs, not just to pee out of, so I'm going to use it.
A man who would stop at nothing to get his own way.
6 innocent children just gone, just like that.
He knows that all